When businesses fail, they usually fade quietly. But these were loud, messy, and absurdly expensive. We're talking billion-dollar blunders that didn't just ruin companies. They wrecked industries, rattled Wall Street, and nearly broke the U.S. economy. From delusional mergers to disasters that sparked new laws, these are the top 10 most expensive business failures in American history. Every single one is a case study in what not to do when billions are on the line. If you're new to USA Revealed, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Number 10, the railroad that derailed Wall Street. Penn Central Transportation Company, once the nation's largest railroad and sixth largest corporation, filed for bankruptcy with over $7 billion in assets. This collapse, the largest in U.S. history at the time, sent shockwaves through the financial sector. Penn Central's failure disrupted the commercial paper market, leading to a liquidity crisis that threatened major financial institutions, including Goldman Sachs. The company's downfall was attributed to a failed merger between the Pennsylvania Railroad and New York Central Railroad, resulting in incompatible corporate cultures and redundant infrastructure. Additionally, the Interstate Commerce Commission's mandate to absorb the bankrupt New York, New Haven, and Hartford Railroad further strained resources. Despite efforts to secure a $200 million federal bailout, political opposition thwarted the rescue plan. The bankruptcy led to significant reforms, including the creation of Amtrak in 1971 to handle intercity passenger services and the establishment of Conrail in 1976 to manage freight operations. Penn Central's collapse underscored the need for regulatory reform and highlighted the systemic risks posed by large corporate failures. Number 9, the streaming giant that missed the stream. In 2000, Blockbuster had the chance to purchase Netflix for $50 million. Executives laughed off the offer. A decade later, Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy, burdened by nearly $1 billion in debt and unable to compete with the digital revolution it had dismissed. At its peak in 2004, Blockbuster operated over 9,000 stores worldwide and employed more than 84,000 people. But its commitment to brick-and-mortar locations and late fees alienated customers drawn to Netflix's no-fee, mail-order model. Even when it launched its own DVD-by-mail service, the move came too late. The company's downfall accelerated after Viacom spun it off in 2004, saddling it with a $905 million loan to fund a shareholder dividend. By 2010, Blockbuster was hemorrhaging losses and defaulted on its bankruptcy loan after a poor holiday season, forcing it into a sale. In 2011, Dish Network acquired Blockbuster's remaining assets, but the brand never recovered. By 2014, all corporate-owned stores had closed. Today, a single franchise store remains in Bend, Oregon, a lonely relic of a company that once ruled home entertainment. Number 8, the oil spill that drenched BP in debt. The Deepwater Horizon oil rig exploded, unleashing 134 million gallons of crude oil into the Gulf of Mexico over 87 days. This catastrophic event claimed 11 lives and devastated marine ecosystems. The spill affected over 1,300 miles of coastline, killing an estimated 800,000 birds and countless marine animals, including endangered sea turtles and dolphins. BP, the company responsible, faced over $65 billion in fines, cleanup costs, and settlements. The environmental impact was profound. Polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAH, toxic compounds found in oil, were detected at levels 40 times higher than normal in the spill area, leading to cardiac arrest in fish and deformities in marine life. Methane concentrations were also abnormally high, creating oxygen-depleted dead zones. 15 years later, the Gulf's ecosystems are still recovering. The disaster underscored the dire consequences of operational negligence and the long-term environmental costs of offshore drilling. It serves as a stark reminder of the need for stringent safety measures and environmental protections in the oil industry. Number 7, the telecom titan that talked itself into trouble. In 2002, WorldCom's $104 billion bankruptcy shattered records and investor confidence alike. At the heart of this collapse was a staggering $11 billion accounting fraud orchestrated by CEO Bernard Ebbers and CFO Scott Sullivan. They manipulated financial statements by misclassifying operating expenses as capital expenditures, falsely inflating profits to maintain stock prices and investor trust. The deception unraveled when internal auditor Cynthia Cooper uncovered the irregularities, leading to the exposure of the largest accounting fraud in U.S. history at that time. The fallout was swift and severe. Ebers received a 25-year prison sentence, and the scandal prompted the enactment of the Sarbanes-Oxley Act of 2002, introducing stringent reforms to corporate financial practices. WorldCom's downfall serves as a stark reminder of the catastrophic consequences of corporate malfeasance, highlighting the critical importance of ethical leadership and transparent financial reporting in maintaining market integrity. Number 6. The energy empire that burned out. At its peak, Enron was hailed as a paragon of innovation, boasting over $100 billion in reported revenues. Behind this facade, however, lay a labyrinth of deceit. Executives employed complex accounting maneuvers, including off-balance sheet entities and mark-to-market accounting, to mask billions in debt and inflate profits. This illusion of prosperity led to a catastrophic collapse in December 2001, marking the largest bankruptcy in U.S. history at that time, with $63.4 billion in assets. The fallout was devastating. Enron's stock plummeted from over $90 to less than $1, erasing the life savings of thousands of employees and investors. The scandal also led to the dissolution of Arthur Andersen, one of the world's top accounting firms, after it was found guilty of obstructing justice by shredding audit documents. In response to the debacle, the U.S. Congress enacted the Sarbanes-Oxley Act in 2002, imposing stringent reforms to enhance corporate accountability and prevent similar corporate frauds. Enron's downfall remains a stark reminder of the perils of unchecked corporate greed and the importance of transparency in financial reporting. Number 5. The bank that broke the economy. In the early hours of September 15, 2008, Lehman Brothers filed for bankruptcy, marking the largest corporate failure in U.S. history. With $639 billion in assets and $613 billion in liabilities, the collapse of this 158-year-old institution sent shockwaves through the global financial system. Lehman's downfall was precipitated by aggressive investments in subprime mortgages and excessive leverage, leaving the firm vulnerable when the housing market collapsed. The firm's failure triggered a massive sell-off in global markets, leading to a liquidity crisis that necessitated unprecedented government interventions, including an $85 billion loan to AIG and the $700 billion Emergency Economic Stabilization Act. The repercussions were severe. Global stock markets plummeted, unemployment soared, and economies worldwide entered a deep recession. The crisis exposed significant flaws in financial regulation and risk management, prompting reforms like the Dodd-Frank Act to prevent future systemic failures. Lehman Brothers' collapse remains a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked financial practices and the interconnectedness of global markets. Number 4. The insurance giant that needed assurance. In 2008, American International Group, AIG, a titan of the insurance industry, teetered on the edge of collapse. The culprit: a staggering $441 billion in credit default swaps, many tied to subprime mortgage-backed securities, with $57.8 billion backed by particularly risky loans. As defaults surged, AIG's obligations ballooned, triggering a liquidity crisis. The U.S. government intervened with an unprecedented $182.5 billion bailout, securing a 79.9% equity stake in the company. This move aimed to prevent a domino effect that could devastate global financial markets. AIG's collapse threatened not just Wall Street, but also the broader economy, given its vast network of counterparties. By 2013, AIG had repaid its debts, and the U.S. Treasury reported a profit of $22.7 billion from the rescue. The crisis underscored the dangers of unchecked financial innovation and the systemic risks posed by institutions deemed too big to fail. AIG's story serves as a cautionary tale of how intricate financial instruments, when mismanaged, can imperil the entire economic system. Number 3. The telecom bubble that burst. During the dot-com boom, JDS Uniphase aggressively expanded, hoping to capitalize on the rapid growth in the telecommunications sector. However, when the bubble burst in 2001, the company faced a devastating $50.6 billion loss, the largest annual loss ever recorded by a U.S. company at that time. The downfall was primarily due to massive write-downs of goodwill, totaling $38.7 billion in the third quarter and another $6.1 billion in the fourth quarter. These write-downs were a result of overvalued acquisitions made during the boom, with stock prices inflated far beyond the company's actual worth. The consequences were severe for the company, as it was forced to lay off 16,000 employees as part of a global restructuring effort aimed at reducing annual expenses by $700 million. The JDS Uniphase collapse serves as a cautionary tale about the risks of speculative investments and highlights the critical importance of careful valuation in corporate acquisitions to avoid such disastrous financial fallout. Number 2, the mortgage mogul that crumbled. Fannie Mae, a cornerstone of U.S. housing finance, reported staggering losses exceeding $74 billion in 2008, leading to its placement under government conservatorship. This collapse was not due to subprime loans to low-income borrowers, but stemmed from investments in overheated housing markets involving borrowers with better-than-average credit scores. Established in 1938 to enhance mortgage liquidity, Fannie Mae had grown into a dominant force, holding or guaranteeing about $5.2 trillion in home mortgage debt by the start of its conservatorship. However, the shift towards riskier mortgage products and private label securitization in the early 2000s pressured Fannie Mae to lower its underwriting standards to maintain market share. The failure of supervisory stress testing by the Office of Federal Housing Enterprise Oversight, OFHEO, significantly underpredicted mortgage credit losses and associated capital needs at Fannie Mae, contributing to its financial distress. The government's intervention in September 2008, placing Fannie Mae under conservatorship, underscored the systemic risks posed by inadequate risk assessment and regulatory oversight in the mortgage industry. This episode serves as a stark reminder of the perils of unchecked growth and the critical importance of robust financial regulation. Number 1, the merger that merged into oblivion. In 2000, the $165 billion merger of AOL and Time Warner was heralded as a transformative union of digital innovation and traditional media. However, by 2002, the combined entity reported a staggering $98.7 billion loss, the largest annual loss in U.S. corporate history. This colossal failure stemmed from a clash of corporate cultures. AOL's fast-paced, innovative environment conflicted with Time Warner's traditional, bureaucratic structure. The anticipated synergies failed to materialize, and the dot-com bubble burst further eroded AOL's value. The merger, once seen as visionary, became a cautionary tale of overestimated synergies and cultural misalignment. The fallout was severe. Shareholder value plummeted, and key executives, including Vice Chairman Ted Turner, departed in frustration. The merger's unraveling serves as a stark reminder of the complexities inherent in integrating diverse corporate entities. For professionals navigating mergers and acquisitions, this case underscores the importance of thorough due diligence, cultural compatibility assessments, and realistic synergy evaluations. Leveraging specialized M&A software platforms can aid in identifying potential pitfalls and aligning strategic objectives, thereby enhancing the likelihood of a successful merger. These weren't just corporate screw-ups, they were economic earthquakes. Each failure left behind a crater of lost jobs, shattered reputations, and lessons paid for in billions. If this video opened your eyes, hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into America's biggest wins and losses, and tell us in the comments, which failure blew your mind and which one did we miss?